everyone, Wilson here. Welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to do a quick video explaining the annual running costs of owning my R172 SLK55 AMG. So I'm going to cover things like insurance, tax, general running costs, things that have gone wrong that I have to spend on repairs. I'm also going to cover the good and the not so good, things that I feel that needs improvement. So stay tuned. So the first thing that went wrong and costed me about £60 to fix was the renowned ABS sensor. So this is a common fault on all SLKs, R172s. My one failed on the near side front. It was straightforward to replace. Took me about half an hour or so. Wheel off, the sensor's located behind the brake disc and plugs into the wiring loom. Obviously no labour involved, so it's just the part I've had to pay out. That caused no end of problems, ABS traction control loss, cruise control failures, etc. And also the eco stop start didn't work. Right, and then shortly afterwards, this unit failed. So this was the servo brake unit sensor, vacuum sensor, which is another common problem on SLK R172s. That's located just below there, below the brake reservoir, that little black unit there. I don't know if you can see. So this costed me a genuine part from Mercedes, £60, plug and play, just a connector, and then that just basically pushes in with with friction. To get out was a bit of a pain. You have to put a cable tie around it and pull it out because it's such a restricted area. Right, third item that needed to replace was the battery. That caused no end of problems because the previous owner fitted a non-AGM box standard battery, which caused stop-start issues and other eco functions like cylinder deactivation not working. So I replaced that with a Varta, genuine Varta silver AGM, the correct battery. And that's fixed a lot of the problems I had, the eco function, the stop start, the cylinder deactivation. That costed me, I think it's about £175 from an online battery retailer. So that's the cheapest you can get it. I think Euro Car Parts were selling it way over £200. The fourth item that went faulty during my 1 year ownership was the exhaust valve actuator motor, located on the inner pipe on each side near the back over there. That essentially regulates the opening of the exhaust, so different sounds in different modes, sport mode or comfort mode. They're about £300 each from Mercedes, but an aftermarket dealer will sell them for about £150. But I went for neither of those options. I went for the £40 eBay emulator loom, which essentially tells the ECU to keep the valves open at 100% at all times. But I do have the option to fix it at a later date for £150. Right, let's talk about other running costs. So insurance. So I paid last year when I got the car £450 fully comp, social use only, limited mileage. I think I put something like 4,000 miles. To be honest, I don't do that. I do less than 2,000 a year. Excess was £100, which was quite a surprise actually. That's a compulsory. That's combined excess actually. So £450 with full no claim bonus, protected as well. Haven't got a renewal quote come through yet from my current insurer, but I'm guessing they normally put the price up. You know what insurance are like. But I've done a few comparison websites. It's about £380 this year, same sort of cover. So insurance costs, my age, is pretty affordable. Let's talk about tax, road tax. So considering this is a 5.5 litre V8, I'm only paying £385 a year, which is a bargain really compared to the lesser models of the older generations. I think you pay double, £600-700 quid. So definitely this thing is cheap to run, in terms of tax, well in my case insurance. Fuel costs, being a V8, don't expect miracles. Combined cycle, I'll get anywhere between 25 to 30 mpg. So that's reasonable, for what it is. I once took it on a 60 mile journey recently, running on the Eco 4 cylinder deactivation mode, and I achieved 36.5 mpg, which was unheard of in a V8. So, you know, economy can be had if you drive it sensibly, but that's not what you buy a V8 for. Right, let's talk about other things that I quite like about this car, this generation. So the interior, I really like the dials, the vents. They remind me of the SLS, the Mercedes SLS. It's so cool. It's so much of an upgrade compared to the previous generation. The layout's good. The stereo is a bit old school. It's got a lot of buttons, which I don't hardly use, to be honest. I mean, the shortcut buttons are quite handy sometimes, but that's quite old school. The layout of this area, I quite like it. It's quite easy to read, and big dials, etc. I particularly like the IWC clock. That was an optional extra, so the previous owner, obviously the first owner, opted that for option. That's really classy, I think. I like the sunroof. So if you look at the sunroof, I've got the Magic Sky. So if I press this button here, I'll show you. As soon as I press this button, the sky darkens up. So that was an optional extra at quite a considerable cost. So I really like that, and I can make it clear again by pressing the button. Yeah, the general ergonomics of the car I really enjoy. The Harman Kardon speakers, these here. These were again optional extras. So the Harman Kardon option. It sounds great, but the only downside, or I mentioned before on my previous videos, the Harman Kardon, it consists of speakers on the next to the doors as well, and one center speaker in the middle, but they don't come alive. They only used for surround sound. How often do you get surround sound with a CD? Very often, unless I play a DVD with DTS surround sound. So it's kind of useless most of the time. Most of the time when I'm playing music, I only rely on the front three speakers, really, tweeters, the mids and the subs. So is it a worthwhile upgrade? I mean, I'm not complaining. The first owner, you know, decided to have it, but there you go. Right, let's talk about some things that I don't really like, and it probably needs an improvement. Let's talk about the indicator stalk and the cruise control stalk. Now, I don't know why they put this so low down, because every time I try to put the indicator, I accidentally press the cruise control, which can be annoying sometimes. This stalk, I think it's ugly as well, you know, this big bulk thing here. But the later generation, R172 SLK, I think the 2013 onwards, had a upgraded stalk. It was like a facelift version, and basically the stalk looked a lot nicer, and they mounted it further up the steering wheel. So I think that can be retrofitted, so that's something I may look into. Right, so I've got an MOT coming up in a few weeks' time, so I shouldn't have any consumables that I need to change. Tyres are brand new, disc and pads, everything's fine. I think the subframe's fine as well. I've checked it myself recently. That's a common issue as well. So hopefully, fingers crossed, the MOT will fly past. Other niggles, the ride quality. It's not particularly firm as such, the suspension. I haven't got the P30 package, but listen to this. Oof. It's just the chassis is quite jiggly. You know, the vibration comes into the cabin quite prominently, even just ruts, not even potholes, just ruts. But like I said, the ride quality isn't firm. It's just, I think it's the chassis. You know, I can't imagine what the P30 package will be like. I think it will be, you know, a lot more jittery, should I say. So in terms of other modifications that I've done, just cosmetic purely, I fitted this little emblem, the AMG emblem, onto the entertainment control knob. Let's zoom up for you to have a look. That was, I think it was like £8 from eBay. But look, I think it looks really nice. It's a silver design, goes with you know, the interior that I have here. I think they do other colours as well, black. So that's a little nice touch there, I think. One thing that's annoying is that to open the roof with the key fob, it doesn't work if you're standing in this position. Look, nothing happens. And what you have to do is you have to come over here, and apparently there's an infrared sensor on the door here. You have to literally stand here and point the key fob at the infrared sensor, hold the button down, and there you go. Then the roof decides to open. Now that's great if you want to remotely open it, but I don't want to be standing here in the cold pointing my fob at the infrared sensor. I'd rather be inside the house and do it wirelessly. So that's one thing that Mercedes needs to improve on, I think. Also, notice that the back quarter window, this location on both sides, doesn't raise. It stays permanently down when the roof is down. There's no way you can do it on this SLK model. I even tried the center console window switch down there, and it doesn't work. Apparently the facelift SLC enables that to come up with the window switch in the center console. I wish it had it on this model. One of my other pet hates is opening the boot, or the trunk as the US calls it, when it's just rained. Watch what happens. There you go, splattered all over the place, the water. I mean, there are water channels to collect the water, as you can see, but look what happens at the other areas. That's really annoying. So that's why I keep this handy to mop it all up afterwards. So service-wise, so it's coming up for the next service in 32 days, according to the onboard computer. A5, I'm not sure what that is yet. I need to look that up. So it could be just an oil filter change, maybe a bit more, but let's see. But I've only done less than 2,000 miles since I've owned it, 12 months now. I got a company car during the day, so this is just a weekend toy, to be honest. So next item on the list that I've paid £20 for, this genuine Mercedes .4 Plus brake fluid. So I'll be carrying this out myself. I've got the brake bleed kit, so I know I can do it on my drive. I've done plenty of other cars myself in past 15-20 years. So I'm not sure if this has been done already, because from the service records I can't see any mention of this. So as a belts and braces approach, I'm going to do it anyway myself. So that's the one thing to tick off the list. So security wise, I know these cars don't have keyless entries and keyless fobs, but I like to be safe. So I bought this Halford stop lock. More of a deterrent really. I mean, if someone wants to steal it, they will, but as a deterrent for £40, it's definitely worth it. So need to take her for an MOT later, so let's give it a quick wash before we head down there. Right, this is the bit I hate the most, cleaning the wheels of any car. But luckily, I've got this little tool from Halford's. So much easier, gets into the nuts and crannies, and also the back of the wheel as well. So, pretty handy. But, to be honest, these AMG wheels are pretty easy to clean anyway, being the 5 spokes. Unlike my Honda. There you go. Where this will do the trick, I think, a lot better. Right, time for MOT. Let's go. There we are. Just MOT is my usual go-to place annually. They're pretty efficient. No booking required. You just turn up and then queue up, literally queue up, and then they'll do your MOT. Really efficient. Right, here she goes. Fingers crossed. There she is, all done. Right, let's have a look at the result. Right, let's reveal the truth. Yay! So that's another a year MOT, 40 quid later, but I'm happy with that. No advisories. Clean bit of health. Of course, people buy this car only for one thing. It's for the 5.5 litre V8 hand-built AMG engine. License loser. Oh, traction control kicking in there. I never had that happen before, but look at the weather. It is raining. Woohoo! Jesus. This thing can scare anyone. It scares me. It's just, the torque is so relentless. Oh my god. That got to 70 miles an hour pretty quick. Right, let's do a rundown of the cost that I've incurred since owning my SLK55 for the past 12 months. So the first item I had to change was the ABS wheel sensor, so that sent me back £60. Then shortly after that, the brake vacuum sensor went faulty, so that was also £60. Then came the exhaust valve motor, so to fix that I bought the emulator kit for £40. And then recently I had the main battery failed, so that set me back £175. Then followed by the recent MOT, which was £40. Then the insurance from last year, which was £450. The road fund tax license was £385. And recently I bought a bottle of brake fluid, which sent me back £20. So bear in mind, there's no labour involved because I did everything myself. The upcoming A5 service, I don't have a price for that at the moment. So bearing that in mind, the grand total so far is £1,230, which I think is a good value for money for the type of car. Okay, so before we wrap up this video, let me give you a quick opinion of my ownership, my 12-month ownership of this car. This car has been a joy to own and drive. It's fabulous to drive. It sounds great. The roof comes down in the summer. You get the wind in your hair. It's such a joy to own this car. I mean, I think this car will be a long-term keeper for myself. I normally keep my cars long. Previous car, 10 years plus. Probably no different with this one. It's a rare sight. You don't see this car on the road these days. I mean, I've probably only seen one, apart from, attending car meets, etc. So it's quite a rare beast. A bit like the 171 AMG, SLK55 AMG. Okay, there are a few niggles, and dislikes that I've already mentioned in this video, but I can live with them. It's not a showstopper. I think the good outweighs the bad in this instance. It's definitely cheap to run, like I mentioned already. The tax is very affordable compared to other lesser models with similar sized petrol engine. Insurance is reasonable, from my point of view. The fuel cost is very reasonable. You know, obviously you don't buy the V8 to drive it economically, but if you want to, you can. You can get like I tried recently, 36 mpg if you're just cruising on a motorway. So best of both worlds, you know. So yeah, so it's definitely worth buying. It's, if you do find a nice model, and it's worth, they're quite rare. It's worth keeping, and it will give you fun and games, fun and joy throughout the year. I think it's you've got the hard top as well. That obviously is the real benefit. I never liked soft tops. That's why I've always had hard tops. I've had a R170 SLK 52 AMG in the past. So yeah, it's quiet when you want it to be, and then in the summer you can drop the top. Anyway, so I hope you all enjoyed this video. Please remember to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you all again soon. Cheers guys. Bye.